Colleen Miles here with Around Campus. Dr. Randall Pinkett is joining me today, and he is the man for the ages. Not only is he a business owner and a writer, but he was the talented winner of the 4th season of the reality TV show The Apprentice, featuring Donald Trump. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here, Colleen. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So, first question. You are CEO and chairman of BCT Partners, a national consulting firm. Tell us about the company.
So, BCT Partners, we've been in business now for 12 years. I have 3 partners. I met them when I was an undergraduate student like you in college. We had a dream that one day we might own our own business. And here we are today, many years later, as business owners. We are a information technology solutions company. We all studied engineering in college, and so we provide solutions for corporations and federal government, things like websites, databases, integrating systems, engineering software, all of the technology services that you'd expect for a company to deliver to a large organization. And as I said before, we've been in business now for 12 years.
So you have partnered and authored several books. Can you tell us about these books?
Yes, well, some of them are right there on the screen behind us. I've written 3. I've got a 4th book on the way, so stay tuned for that.
What's it called?
I'll tell you in a second. I'm going to give you a preview.
Okay.
So the first 2 books were Campus CEO and No Money Down CEO. You see the pattern there, Campus CEO for student entrepreneurs, No Money Down CEO for what I call the broke entrepreneurs, folks that don't have any money. And I was a campus CEO, as you know, starting at Rutgers, and I was also a No Money Down CEO because I was broke when I started my company. And so those books were really geared toward how do you start a company on a college campus, or how do you start a company with no money. Right. The 3rd book was Black Faces in White Places, and that was based on interviews with dozens of prominent African Americans to understand the challenges that we face in the 21st century in industries where we are still underrepresented, where you see very few reflections of yourself. And how do you navigate those environments and maintain a sense of who you are, a sense of pride of where you come from. And so the 4th book is Black Faces in High Places. So Black Faces in White Places, how do you get there to the top?
Right.
Because we interviewed CEOs and renowned journalists like Roland Martin and CEOs like Brother Don Thompson, who's the CEO of McDonald's. Okay. And the list goes on. The 2nd book we'll talk about, once you get to the top, how do you stay there?
Right.
What are the particular challenges once you've reached the upper echelon or upper levels of your profession, and the new challenges that emerge, and how do you overcome them? So stay tuned, Colleen.
Sure will.
All right.
My next question. So let's talk about your time at The Apprentice and eventually the winner of the 4th season. Can you tell us about that and how much of it is reality television or how much is true?
All right. So everything you see from my vantage point is real. I mean, they didn't tell us what to do. They weren't coaching us. There weren't any retakes. At the same time, for The Apprentice, the tasks are generally filmed over the course of 48 hours.
Right.
And then they take that footage and they winnow that down to about 45 minutes. So you can imagine that you're missing a lot. Bits
and pieces.
Precisely.
Okay.
And as somebody who's in mass communications, you can appreciate this, that the edit skews people's impression of reality.
Right.
So if you never see me laughing, you may think that I'm sad.
Or
if
serious.
Or serious. If you only see me arguing, or the 2 moments where I argue with people, you may think I'm argumentative. So while everything you see is true to life, it is somewhat skewed based on how it's edited and what they selectively choose or don't choose to put on screen. So I spent, 8 to 10 weeks competing every week on a different task.
Okay.
There were 1 million people who were chosen. There were 18 of us that were, there were 1 million people who applied, 18 that were chosen, and then one of us that was the winner. That was me for season 4.
So how difficult was it to win? Was it difficult? I mean, a man of your caliber, I'm pretty sure it was pretty easy. Or
I wouldn't say it was easy. I mean, it was difficult. I was nervous going into the competition. It was my first opportunity to be on a nationally televised program. Right. So that alone with the cameras and the lights and
always being watched.
Always being watched.
Right.
And wanting to put my best foot forward, because if you make a poor decision, that's going to be the thing that they choose to put on TV.
Over and
exactly,
over
and then you got to answer your friends and family. Why did you make that foolish mistake?
What were you thinking? Right.
There you go. So I wouldn't say it was easy. I would say it was fun. I had a great time, met some great people, but it was a challenge, and it was a good, healthy challenge. It pushed me in ways that I hadn't been pushed before, and as the winner, it reinforced the things that I had learned leading up to that point, that I had really developed a good sense of business acumen because I was able to apply that on the show.
So you saying your skills, that your personal skills is what helped you win?
I'd say it was my preparation of having been a business owner before going on the show.
Right.
So I had already spent 6 years in business before I went on the show, and actually arguably 10 years if you include my years as a student entrepreneur. So I think being in business for me, being accustomed to doing different things on different days, wearing different hats under different circumstances, was the best preparation for being on The Apprentice, because that's exactly what I did every week. And I think for those who came from a more traditional background, who didn't have that entrepreneurial experience, I think that they were at a disadvantage. And it gave me a leg up.
Okay, so what would you tell some of our young black males here who have dreams, being entrepreneurs, businessmen, owning their own, CEO companies?
So
what advice could you give them?
So the first thing I'd tell them is to get a copy of my book,
Okay.
Campus CEO.
You hear that? Get a copy of his book.
Second thing I'd say is to follow me on Twitter,
okay,
so you can find out what I'm saying about what it means to be in business, at Randall Pinkett, Randall with one L.
Okay.
The third thing I would say, though, is leverage this experience at Delaware State, because it is a unique opportunity. Given the resources here, given your fellow classmates and the faculty and the administrators who I've met and have interacted with before coming here, I know this is a very supportive environment, and that if you leverage what's already here, this is perhaps the best incubator for starting a business.
Right.
I mean, you have access to professors who are experts, peers who can work with you to form teams. You've got classes, develop your skills. You have leisure time during semester breaks where if you're not just taking the break, you can actually plan for a business. So it's almost a perfect storm.
Right.
That's why I think we see so many student entrepreneurs today, be it Diddy or Russell Simmons, who started as students, or Facebook or YouTube or Microsoft or Dell, or the list goes on. I mean, there's no accident there. So I say to those young men and women who are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs, Delaware State is the place where you can plant those seeds that they can grow years from now.
Well, Mr. Pinkett, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining
Colleen.
us here.
Great job with the interview.
Stay tuned for next week for Around Campus. I'm Colleen Miles.